Hi everyone, welcome back. So in today's session, we're going to focus on lower body flexibility and strength using no equipment. So first of all, we're going to start with gentle weight shifts and gentle steps in any random direction you want to go. So make sure you're barefoot, make sure you have a little bit of space to move around. And then slowly and gradually you're going to start exploring the space, doing many small steps, weight shifting, bringing legs together, sideways, forwards, backwards, any direction you want to do. Take your time. The slower, the better. So the goal with this one is to experience that weight shift as you place your foot and then bringing together. Enjoy. So after a minute or two of slow weight shift steps, we're going to transition onto our second task, which is literally going to be a simple task of pushing and pulling using your legs. So the more friction you have, the better on the floor. You really want to be barefoot with this one. So the idea behind this drill is to, as you step with one foot, one leg, you want to use the force of push and pull in any random directions. First of all, you can start being very linear. For example, if you go in a lunge, you can lean forward, push forward, and then maybe doing one leg, other leg. A few reps, keeping it simple for now. Experiencing how this affects the upper body, so your arms should be a little relaxed. After a few moments of going forwards, then you can start pulling. So for example, putting more pressure with your heel. So you're going to really feel it in your hamstrings, for example. Again, keeping it linear, one leg, then other leg. And you can probably see where this is going as you're gradually sort of feeling how this should be, how this should feel like. You can start playing more with various other positions. So for example, now I'm pulling inwards with one inside part of my leg, my adductors, and then other part, other leg. And then you can always pull outwards, so push and pull. So think about having sticky feet, that's your limitation, and then you're using those forces of pushing and pulling to engage muscles of your legs. And obviously the rest of your body, especially your upper body, is going to react. So try to keep your arms and your torso fairly relaxed. After a few reps of that, minute and a half, then you can start exploring and moving around softly. So doing one or two steps and then pushing, pulling, and twisting other side, and so on. Be free to explore here, but keep it soft for now, especially if you have some injuries or pain. Take your time. And our next task is going to be single leg balance. So decide which leg you want to stand on. You're going to weight shift, keeping the knee of the balancing leg soft. First, maybe give yourself a few seconds to get used to the position, keeping your arms relaxed, upper body relaxed. And then if it feels okay, start exploring the space around with the free leg, softly, keeping the foot with the balancing supporting leg nice and sturdy. After a few moments of that, if it feels okay, you can close your eyes, bringing that motion to stop. See how it affects you. Again, try to minimize all the chaos with your arms. Focus on readjustments in your foot and the ankle. After a few moments of balancing on one leg, we're going to repeat the same thing on the other leg. Give yourself a few seconds of stillness, then exploring the space around with your eyes open, and lastly, eyes closed. This brings us to our ankle walks. So first of all, you're going to have simple task and you'll elevate your heels as much as you can, almost like you're wearing the heels. Obviously being barefoot, you're going to go on the balls of your feet, on your toes as high as you can, really engaging your calves. And then just start walking around, slowly, crossing the legs, maybe being a bit more playful, if it's okay, but try not to lose the height of the heels. So think about floor is lava and you really don't want to touch the floor with your heels. So this is our first task. Second one, doing the opposite. So lifting your toes up, walking on the heels, toes as high as you can, dorsiflexing the foot in the ankle. Notice not to create too much tension in your upper body, in your arms. Still keep it relaxed. The focus is on your heels. As you can see, I'm doing a couple of spins here. You don't necessarily need to do that. If you feel comfortable, you can increase complexity. Next one, walking on the outsides of your feet. This one might be a little bit more awkward, maybe even a little bit tender for those of you who had some injuries before, some strains, but it's a very good way to condition your ankles for the everyday life. So really try to lift, elevate the inner part of your feet as high as you can, and slowly keep stepping forwards, backwards, sideways, and so on. And the very last one, walking on the inner parts of your feet. This might feel the most awkward one. Basically, you want to bringing your knees or your thighs closer together in order to elevate the outsides of your feet. Take your time with this one and enjoy. Knee circles. So variation number one, especially if you have dodgy knees, keep your heels on the floor, keep your feet stuck on the floor slightly apart. You're going to go forwards, backwards, keeping your hands on the top of your knees, keeping your posture upright. After a few moments of that, you can start going 3 to 5 reps each side, circular motion, while still trying to keep your heels on the floor. You're going to be limited by how deep you can go because of the feet connection with the floor. After a few reps one side, make sure to change direction and do the other side as well. If this feels okay, you can start elevating your heels, keeping your posture upright, using the same pattern, but now trying to bend your knees even more, driving your knees even more forward. Take your time. Few reps one side, few reps other side. And this is bringing us to our next task, which is going to be cross-legged forward fold. As the name suggests, you're going to gently bend the knee of one leg, you're going to cross your leg if possible, and then you're going to gently forward, go into forward fold as much as you can. As you can see here, in case you struggle with the balance, you can either bend your knee a bit more, knee of the supporting leg, or you can simply keeping your hands on the floor to help yourself with the balance. Pause in each position for 5 to 10 seconds and enjoy. This one is really nice stretch for the outsides of the hip. Simple straddle reach with the elbow. So you have 3 points of reach: opposite elbow toward opposite leg, then both elbows in the middle, and then opposite elbow towards opposite leg. So if you have tight hamstrings, you can always bend your knees a little bit more and try to focus here on doing the motion primarily through your hips. Some rounding and twisting of the spine is normal, but aim to do hip hinge as much as you can. Take your time. Hand supported deep lunge. So first of all, get comfortable in the position, lower your hips as much as you can, keeping the supporting arm straight. You're gonna elevate, lift one arm in the opposite direction, then the same arm, elbow taps the floor, or you're going as close as you can to the floor, while keeping your hips fairly low and keeping the supporting elbow always straight. So do 3 to 6 reps, let's say, each side. Observe the differences. Take your time. And Cossack squat. So while staying low with your hips, one leg is straight on the side, other leg is bent, That same knee taps the floor forward in front of you as you're sitting on your heel, and simultaneously extending the same hip, going into single arm support backwards, almost like a backbend, mini backbend. So take your time as you want to have this nice straight line between extended leg and straight arm and the rib cage. A few reps one side, a few reps other side. If you wish, you can spend a little bit longer here. And low toe or low squat walks. So starting in the squat where your heels are off the floor, you're gonna reach forward with one leg, either with helping yourself with your hands, which would be easier, or without helping yourself with your hands. You're reaching with one leg, then you're gonna gently, as you reach with your heel, weight shift towards the ball of your foot as the other leg sort of sweeps around, either keeping it straight or bent in the knee, until you repeat the same thing. So I don't have much space here, so I do 2 to 3 steps and then I turn around, but be free to cover a bit more distance if you have space. And again, keeping your posture upright, keeping your hips low. Help yourself with your hands if you find this too intense. And a great drill to strengthen the groin area and the adductor area, which is notoriously weak with so many of us. You're gonna go in this supported seated position on your forearm. Hip is on the floor, one leg in front of the working leg. So you're gonna try to dorsiflex your foot, so toes towards your shin, keeping it straight. And you're gonna start lifting up as high as you can. Few reps lifting, and then maybe last rep add a mini pause or 3 to 4 seconds. Always a good idea. So first one side, then other side. Really think about lifting as high as you can. This can feel quite tender initially, so really take your time. Notice the sensations. Gradually increase the intensity. So our next drill is this lovely belly roll with threading one leg through, keeping the hip extended, keeping the same leg up in the air up until you go all the way on that side. So I'm not gonna tell you too much. Try to embrace the learning process. Here a bit of frustration. It's very simple. Might take you a minute or two till you get it right. Just remember, during this transition on your belly, you want to keep your glutes engaged and keeping the hips extended. Take your time. And with our next task, we're still gonna stick to this extension in the hip, keeping your glutes engaged. So here I'm demonstrating in the first 1 or 2 reps how to do the pattern. So you wanna go in this all 4 position. Maybe you're gonna have even one of your forearms on the floor to help yourself. So without going into too much of a back bend, you're gonna elevate, extend one leg, straighten one leg, keeping your glutes engaged, hips engaged. You're gonna travel or hover forwards or sideways with that straight leg, keeping it as high as you can. Pausing for a second, then reversing, and we're just gonna do that simple pattern for a few times each side. So keeping it as high as you can. If you twist your spine, your lower back and your hips, that's fine, as we want to prioritize here creating as much space as we can between our inner thigh of supporting leg and this traveling leg, especially when the leg goes on the side. You might notice your glutes are very much engaged here, and sometimes even a little bit of cramping can happen. Good tip is just try to ignore it. Enjoy. Single leg hip hinge in combination with narrow stance split squat. So it's going to test your balance, your hamstring flexibility, glute strength, while keeping your lower back engaged as well. And also this no momentum lowering down into the squat while keeping your posture upright. So first you're going to stick to one side first, couple of reps. As you can see, I'm doing it very slowly, and then reaching forwards, not too far forwards. It's going to take you probably a few reps to establish what's the optimal distance. Transitioning between this hip hinge, where we're doing motion primarily through our hips, keeping the knee bent softly, leg going through, forwards, weight shifting, keeping the torso upright, slowly going down. It's very nice when it can be quite meditative, but also very intense, especially if you have right intention. So take your time with this one and embrace the balance, the focusing on your breath and that muscle tension. And we're just gonna finish with a little bit of softness, a little bit of basic, super basic footwork. We're gonna start lifting your heels off the floor, bouncing in this position, keeping the softness as elasticity. And as you're starting to transition into very basic pattern, so one leg on the side and 2 bounces, other leg on the side, and so on. Spend here for a minute, 2, maybe long if you wish. So I just want to say thank you so much for the support so far. It was a pleasure again to sharing some of the material that I also practice. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this session. As always, if you wish to support the channel, you can always subscribe or maybe even add a small donation, which is very much appreciated, but no pressure. Link is going to be in the description. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, evening, and see you soon.